Welcome to the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes podcast that cuts through the bullcrap and gets to the core of what players need to know. I'm your host, Egnards, joined by the intern to the assistant to the regional manager, Fat Philip, and a very rare second special guest. So prepare to tackle Hell Week, submit your raid runs, and turn notifications back on for your guild's TV channel. This is Zeta Protocol.
Hair is not behaving.
Philip, I missed you. How are you today?
We're good, it was a really weird coming back to work after being off for 14 days. Like, I had to remember what I do, and I came back at, like, our busiest time, and so there's, like, 100 and I only had, like, 150 emails because people were smart enough to just know I'm not gonna answer you, and, uh, I still haven't read all of them yet.
And as you're an accountant, so I'm assuming busiest time because of taxes, right?
No,
No.
I work for a, uh, like, private company.
Okay.
So, it was our quarter end close,
Okay.
and we
All
were
right.
trying to issue our like, financial statements from 2025, so there's just a lot of stuff going on.
Okay. I got you. The only reason I asked is because obviously today is tax day. I put in my extension yesterday,
Yep.
and
Oh,
I paid
lovely.
New
Yep.
Jersey today, right? Like maybe
Ah,
3 hours ago. But we have a guest today. We don't normally do guests. So for the 5 to 6 people that listen to this, I do often get requests in my Discord messages. They're like, oh, can I be a guest on Zeta Protocol? Like, I want to have a chat. And I love chatting with people, but it's not really our thing. I did bring someone in last minute, and I brought them in for a reason. We have Kahzgul with us, who has the strongest chin on Reddit. For those
Is
of
it
you
true?
who you have a Bruce Campbell chin, and I've been telling you that for years. Like, I am jealous of it. He is on Reddit. You're on Substack now. You just started Twitch streaming a few weeks ago. Some Swugga stuff, some Slay the Spire stuff, because you have an obsession with the game. But Kazgul, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right. Am I doing all right? I have a pinched nerve in my neck that we're trying to get through, so I'm on muscle relaxers. So this might get real weird. It
It's
should be.
fine.
I feel lucid now. I just took a nap. They make you very tired. I just
So
had some sugar,
that
so I
explains
should be
it,
good.
because normally around 3 p.m. if I message you, I get a message right back. And I didn't. I
Oh yeah,
said
today I was asleep.
I sent you a kiss emoji, and I thought that was an opening to a conversation. I was like, okay, I guess Kazkul's ignoring me right now. But tell us, I guess there are a lot of people who are on Reddit because it is a cesspool. And I agree it's a cesspool. And like an addict, I keep going back to it. Um, just give us a quick overview on you, what you're doing, where you're at, how long, just whatever you want for the next minute or so. And then we'll get into why we're here today.
Okay. Let's see. I mostly take a humorous look at Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. If you're familiar with my kit reveals, they very rarely have anything to do with the kits. My latest reveal was like a long story about how I got kidnapped by Colombian drug runners, maybe. True story. You should read it. It's fun.
Oh boy.
Uh, and then I also do a very serious, non-jokey conquest guide because I don't think anyone should give Capital Games money ever. Their pricing model is abusive. They take advantage of gambling addicts. I don't like it. I like the game, but it's despite all the business practices of the company. I'm 100% free to play. I think this game is one of the rare ones that you can have great success at 100% free to play. They've already made well over $1 billion. So in theory, they could have put that money in the bank and kept everyone employed forever. That's not how corporations work, but they could have. And that's enough for me to say, I'll just play this till they stop. And
Though
I have fun with it.
I
You
do
know,
have on record you yesterday on Twitch saying SLKR bundle, is that $10? Did they change the price? Actually, not a bad deal. It's on
It's
your
not a
Twitch
bad
stream.
deal. It's not. There's a couple that are okay, like the Hyperdrive bundle for $10, I think is an okay buy. I mean, my general feeling is a video game should cost $60 to $70 for a
Yeah.
full everything. This game has like 300 characters. So if each character is 50 cents each, that's still $150. No, too expensive. And people are like shelling out hundreds of bucks to get the new character. I think that's crazy. You know,
So would you say that at some point we're going to see a stream where Kahzgul spends $60 on the game specifically to say I bought the game?
no, not until they fix their pricing model.
Okay. All right. That's
If they
fair.
make the pricing model reasonable, then I would be like, you know what, I played this game for 10 years. I got some enjoyment out of that.
Got to
You
put some
know,
money to it.
I'll pay you for my enjoyment. Here's $3.40.
Okay. All right. I
Well,
gotcha.
so the first time that you buy a bundle, I want to say there's a discount because when I bought my first Lightspeed bundle was the like resistance one that was like $10,
That
and I
was a
went to
decent
pay
value.
for it, and I was like, oh wait, it's only $7, and then I
This is
got the
great.
little achievement for like like buying a pack or something like that. It was I'll never forget that stream where I was like cackling. I'm like, oh look, I'm wailing, and then it's like $7,
That's
You've
funny.
spent nothing.
I did.
yeah.
So, full disclosure, they had a Jedi Temple Guard pack for $0.00,
Mm,
but you
mm-hmm,
had to
Oh,
buy it through the store, even though it was technically
mm-hmm.
free. I did get that. I gave them
that
no money, but I completed a store transaction for it. So I don't know if that
my
I lose all my street cred
my
for that.
favorite part of my favorite part of that whole thing was the people freaking
Mm-hmm.
out that they lost their achievement to like prove that they were free to play.
Yep.
And I was like, you are the kind of people that are the vegans that do CrossFit. Like, you just have to tell people
That you're free to play.
everywhere you go, yeah, that this is your identity.
I had people in my guild who were mad about that. And I had people in my guild. So when the cup bundle first came out, we went to 46 of 50 on the cup bundle. And I'm going to say that nobody bought it for themselves. Everybody like bought 4 of them as gifts to random guildmates. And I had people in my guild mad that they got the cup bundle paid for by someone else unprompted because now they had a purchased pack on their account.
I'll say I would be pissed if somebody bought something for me also.
Okay.
Because I like that my account's gotten to where it's gotten without any real money being spent. And I can show you, hey, you can achieve end game. You know, I'm like 40,000 GP shy of 14 million.
Okay. Yep.
I'm definitely end game farming status. It's just only the newest characters have been released.
And you're like
Um,
K2, K1 border, right? Like mid K2 and
yeah, high K2 right now. My last round was disappointing. I had one guy I could have beat and I messed up a play. And then the last guy, it's one of those games where every time you play all your counters, which are like the 99% counters, you lose.
Oh, I've been
And
there.
I was just like,
my
I just
whole
gave it to
week.
him. I couldn't do it.
I did GAC on 2 accounts this week. My account, nothing worked. Nothing worked. Even like C-Bane on Ahsoka timed out at the very end. Nothing worked. And then I went on the other account and I went 2 for 1. And even the loss was no drops. It was just they were slightly more efficient than me. But it was kind of nice because in those first couple of battles on my account, I lost things that I shouldn't have, and I was like, all right, I lost. Doesn't matter. I'm done playing. I got 100. Who cares? It's not a big deal, and it
Yeah, I
saved me a lot
submitted
of
10
time.
points.
Those are my favorite days, and during the first match, somebody actually messaged me on another guild server, and they're like, oh, I just realized I'm facing you, Egnards, and I was like, hey man, I'm not being cute. I'm not like waiting for you to attack. I screwed up. If you clear a single wall, I'm done. So if you do that, I will stop attacking. If you get stonewalled, yeah, I'm going to try and edge you out, but there is no way that I can beat you if you get past this wall. So do that, and you're fine. I'm not trying to screw you over or anything.
I fought a guy, he tagged me in my Discord and was like, let me know if you want to set anything. And I was like, I really want, like, I was like 4-4 on the season. So I'm like, I really want to win. Because normally I do a lot better in 3v3, but being on vacation, I was not playing my GACs properly. and there was one I like legitimately just threw like I was attacking and I got like through 2 walls and it was a park day. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, "Okay, I'm gonna have to finish this, like, at the park, or I'm gonna be constantly checking to see, like, did he score? Do I need to do ships?" So I just, like, set it down. I'm like, "I'm not doing the rest of this." And I easily could have won because they dropped, like, so
Yeah.
many battles, and I'm like, "Ah, whatever. It is what it is." But I ended up winning, but it was, like, obvious I was gonna win, but he kept attacking and he made me do ships. And there's nothing I hate more than having to do ship battles. Even though I have all 3 GL fleets on offense, I just don't want to have to do ships.
Ships are
Uh,
so easy.
yeah, I know.
That's
So
it.
Kahzgul loves he's a ships nerd. I don't understand it. I keep
I
all
hate
3 GL
ships.
ships on offense for the same reason. My question though is, did they set the fuck you defense or like the standard easy defense right now?
Um, no, yeah, there wasn't a GL ship on defense.
Okay, all right.
They
Because at
had
least
like
that's
home
easy.
one
Yeah, home
yeah, like
one, malevolence, negotiator. Sometimes you see executrix. Um,
yeah, it wasn't bad. And like I mean, I'm not gonna lose. I don't really care. Like I pressed auto in like every fight. I just don't want to have to play ships.
Yeah, I gotcha. Before we get into what we're actually here for today, you were on vacation. You were living your best Disney princess life. You may not. I'm just curious. I feel like I haven't given you the chance to really sing out. Do you have any fun anecdotes from Disney? Any knickknacks
Oh.
that you purchased for yourself, not for your kids?
Oh, I will need to run upstairs real quick if you want to see that
I mean,
because I don't have it.
I
I don't
think
have it
that
on me.
I think that Kaz and I can distract an audience for a
Yeah,
minute.
I
I
mean, I'm
got you here.
clearly not going to be anywhere. I can't even
So
drive right now.
so Kaz, just to continue with you, you're just shy of 14 million. You are in an end game, more casual guild, if I remember correctly.
There,
I
yeah, we
I
did get
have
the 4,000 Mark III currency from the raid today for the first time, so that was
what is
cool.
that box -2? Max box -2?
I have no idea.
You don't know? Okay. Because max box is like 8,250, I think. I remembered
You,
talking to you about CMs, and you're like, "Who does CMs? Who cares? TB? We just deploy. It doesn't matter."
well, no, hang on. I do CMs.
Okay.
At least 5 other people in my guild do CMs.
Okay. All right.
Uh, yeah, but
One day.
not everyone. You know, there's some people who just deploy. We're a guild full of like busy adults with real
Yeah.
lives.
So we are too. It's just, I mean, obviously we're, I guess, maybe more driven in that respect. But if somebody says, "Hey, I'm really busy today," great. Just deploy. I don't care. Like, it's not a big deal for us. Phil, what do you got for me, man?
All right. Well, so to start off with, Hollywood Studios was the last day we ended up going to Disney.
Okay.
And that's like the only besides Magic Kingdom, that's the only park I cared about. Animal Kingdom, Animal Kingdom is a glorified zoo. Biggest waste of your time if you have young children because like outside of Zootopia, you're just going to wait in lines all day for the safari. Um but we started our day at Hollywood Studios actually going back to Animal Kingdom so Harper could meet the Zootopia characters because we didn't get to do that.
Okay.
And then got to Hollywood Studios, built the lightsaber with Harper. So I have a 6-year-old, a 3-year-old, and then an infant. And so Harper is my oldest. She and I built the lightsaber together. And I let her pick you can pick like a Sith lightsaber, a like High Republic, which like that was never happening. Like I'm not building one of them.
No
Then there
daughter
was
of
like a
mine.
yeah. Then there was like a Wookiee-ish one, which like they looked cool, and then like a Galactic Republic one. So she was gonna choose between like she liked the High Republic and then she liked like the Sith lightsaber. So I'm like, well, we're not doing the High Republic one. So we built our Sith lightsaber together. So it's got like, I mean, it looks like
That's kind of
evil. It's
cool.
got like
That's
horns
very
on
That's
cool.
it.
very cool.
And
And
then you get
and
to
that
pick the color crystal.
you do. Okay, because I
Yep.
remembered like you get a crystal and you
It's
don't know what color it is. Did they change that? I don't know. I've never been to Disney.
no, yeah, they ask you, they're like figure out what color you want your lightsaber to be. And of course, the color was known for as soon as I told Harper that she could build it with me. So we got a purple
That's
lightsaber,
sick.
and
Mace
Nice.
Windu.
it looks sick. Yeah.
I will be honest and say I was very tempted to message you and tell you to make me a lightsaber, but I did not want to make you wait in another line. Um, and then just the idea
It,
of like, oh, he's gonna have to like mail it to me and figure that out. But I was
oh,
really
dude.
tempted.
We did it too,
The,
not at the same time, but we got a Darth Vader
oh, that's
style
sick.
lightsaber.
Man,
So this has the Vader one. It was super fun,
I'm the only one
and
without
it's
one.
It is.
heavy. It has heft.
They are.
It's
I
not
wanted
light.
to say, like, I want to give them a lot of credit that it's a very neat experience,
Yeah.
and as long as you are, I would say for like this is gonna sound really sappy, but like you gotta get into your like I'm Star Wars, you
Yeah, yeah,
gotta
yeah.
really kind of like immerse a little bit into it to get that feeling. Like I was sitting there, like I almost got emotional watching Harper at one point because in the video they like you turn on your lightsabers and you all hold them up. And so she's holding her lightsaber up and she just kind of looks over at me with this big smile on her
Oh,
face.
that's
And the force theme is playing, so I'm like ready to start crying already. And then she does that, and I'm like, this is game over. Um, but then the other part that was fun is so then Charlie was so upset that she did not build a lightsaber. But she's too little. She's only 3. She can't build one yet.
I'm not going to
But
remember not building a lightsaber.
yeah,
Kids don't
she
have
was
long-term
she was
memories till age 4.
so she was devastated. But we're waiting in line for another ride and she's crying. And I can't make out why she's crying. Like it had been raining, so I didn't know if she was wet. And then I kind of get down on her level. I'm like, what's wrong, Char? And she's like, Star Wars ride. And she was crying because she wanted to do Smuggler's Run. And so we ended up making our way back to Galaxy's Edge later that night. And it's a 38-inch requirement. And Charlie is like the smallest 3-year-old you'll ever meet. Like, it looks like we don't feed her. We do. And she's short. So she barely meets the 38-inch height requirement. And she sat there in the gunner seat with me. She was too short to press the button to like actually like use the blasters.
Oh
And
no.
I'm holding her hand the whole time, because I was worried if she'd get scared. And we get off of it, and she goes, "Haha, I got the bad guys." So it was a great it was so much fun. They met all the princesses earlier in the week and everything. We prioritized that kind of stuff, so that was awesome. But I felt it was really nice that I got to have a special moment with Harper and Charlie experiencing different things in Galaxy's Edge. So that was really cool.
Man, I can't
That's
give you
awesome.
shit for being a crappy father today. Damn. Terrible. Um, let's get into the meat and bones of tonight. There is not a
Mhm.
lot in the update. I know there are things you want to talk about. We do have the evil robot kit to go over, but the big news here is that Relic Delta is now active in the newest conquest cycle for Cobb Vanth. And the reason that we have brought Kahzgul in here, as really you are a guru when it comes to conquest. You and I, we do see things very differently. We have very heated debates sometimes where we do have to remind each other, "Hey, man, I love you." Um, you have your way, and you're great at conquest, and you've gotten some really crazy small accounts through to that red crate. I have my way, and I very strongly have different feelings from you on Relic Delta and Conquest. And part of the reason that I wanted to bring you here is because I know that Phil and I share very similar feelings. And I wanted to make sure, I guess it's not equal, it's 2 versus 1 here, but I wanted to make sure
Oh, it's all good. It's all good.
I wanted to make sure both perspectives were represented, right? So Relic Delta is active in Conquest. I don't know where you guys are in Conquest. Generally on Wednesday, I'm in Sector 3 because of my Reddit thread and because people told me, "Oh, you're not far enough to do it." And because I am the kind of person to say hold my beer, I doubled the amount of refreshes I normally do. I did all of my 100s. I'm not at Red Crate yet, but I did finish Sector 5. I did finish the boss. I have about 550 of the 630 Conquest credits that I need. So I do think that my perspective here is better than where it was on Monday. Phil, I'm going to let you start here with Relic Delta, your experience, where you're at, and what you're feeling. Uh-oh.
I
I think we're losing Phil. I think his internet is maybe dropping right
Hi,
sector
now.
guys.
3 because I'm only doing my 50 crystal reef. Did the hundreds, or are you lagging?
Yeah, okay. So Phil, you're gonna start again because your camera was bad and now we
Hold
are
on.
good. Nope, you're good now.
Okay, good now.
Yep.
Yeah, so I'm only doing the 50s. I did the hundreds a while ago. I think it was during the crazy Datacron set, and the one after it, I did the hundreds, and I quickly realized that that was not going to be sustainable for trying to keep up with the era system. So I pulled back to only doing 50s, but I'm in sector 3. I I'm torn on the impact of Delta because I see the side of it where the survive feats are a joke. Like, I don't lose health.
Yeah.
But then when I need to get something like dodging 100 times or inflicting a debuff, it completely changes how I play Conquest. Where prior to Relic Delta, I could go in with a team that is going to have foresight or, inflict, say, buff immunity, and I'll just press auto.
Yeah.
I could have the data discs on there. I had a set that I liked that would just keep everybody alive. And that way I could press auto, walk away. Because I don't auto TB as much as you, Egg, but my
Everything. Yeah.
conquests, I try to auto as much as possible. Knowing that, like in Sector 3 and Sector 4, I'm going to farm Datacron feats, so I don't try to push those sectors super far. Like, if I have to auto it instead of sim, it's not a big deal.
Hmm.
Um, but where I'm really taking issue with Delta is, like, right now it's what? Relic 4s and Relic 5s.
Relic 4s and Relic
And you think
5s.
the max is Relic 10.
Yes.
So what happens when Relic 11 comes out? Because now you're going to have either Relic 4s and 5s where everybody's Delta is going to be, the end game art Delta is going to be even higher, which creates a bigger challenge of those feats that require you to inflict a debuff that doesn't count if you kill the enemy. Because that attempt to inflict something
Is
doesn't
after damage.
register. Yes, is after damage, and I, again, fundamentally disagree with that, but, it is what it is. Um, so then you have to update the relic levels to keep the delta the same to what it is now, which then pushes out other players, and so I just feel like it's one of those short-sighted things, and if this is something that's supposed to help me, like, if this is supposed to elevate my experience in Conquest, why can I not turn it off? Why is there not some way that I can eliminate the relic delta impact on my account? And, you know, that I think those 2 areas are where I've really struggled with this update to
Okay.
with Delta and Conquest.
Mr. Kahzgul, care to comment?
Yeah. But first, I want to make clear I think Relic Delta was a horrible change. I can't stand it. I think it's bad for every aspect of the game that it's in. I don't think it ever helps the players. I think it's just to make the whales feel special because in GAC now, when they have terrible play but high relic characters, they'll beat a counter that should wipe the floor with them if it's played well. And that counter won't because your R5s are not going to beat their R10s. Whereas before Relic Delta, I could bring my R5 Afra against all R9 Jabba, and I had like a 50-50 shot of winning that. And now I have no shot at all. I think it's just to punish skill players and reward spenders. That
Okay.
said, in Conquest, I don't think it's a problem at all. And it's because I think part of it's maybe how I view Conquest. I view it as a puzzle mode. It's a part sort of optimization game. How can you get through spending the least amount of energy? And it's also part figuring out how to arrange these teams in a way to solve the puzzle presented to get this feat, in an efficient manner. And for that reason, I actually kind of like how it's forcing bigger accounts to play differently than smaller accounts through Conquest, because you're killing things too quickly to get all your buffs. You need to do something different. Like, if you have to get 100 evades. Also, this is an interesting thing before I get into the evades. I always play manually.
Okay.
And I heard both you guys say you auto a lot.
I
And that's
do.
just not how I play the game. If I was just gonna auto a game, I would stop playing the game. I stopped playing Raid Shadow Legends because it was just played on auto all the time. And it
So
was so boring.
the difference for me, and I've had this. It's one of the criticisms that people have on Reddit about me. They're like, "Why do you always complain about playing the game?" What I find interesting about the game is, and it's not really breaking it, but I like the idea of breaking the game. I like the idea of being able to have the game run itself because of something that I did. And maybe it's because not I grew up, but my 20s, I was the boring nerd who spent a lot of time at home playing things like Cookie Clicker and Adventure Capitalist and all of the different stupid idle games that are out there. And I watched numbers go higher, and I was like, wow, I'm at 43 extra ultra trillion times 400 or whatever it was. Um, when I play TB, I feel that accomplishment from figuring out the puzzle of, oh, I don't have to do this anymore, right? How can I get this to do it on its own? And it is kind of the same thing in Conquest, where there are some battles I know I have to do on manual. But for the most part, I want to do, and this is what you and I were talking about yesterday. A lot of there's what I call soft cheese count, soft cheeses and hard cheeses, right? And ironically, because I like hard cheeses in real life and I really don't like soft cheeses in real life, when it comes to Conquest, I hate the hard cheese strategies. So you see all of these videos online of like, get 100, I don't know, foresight in one battle. And I know that that's very
Oh,
helpful to a lot of players. And I don't hate that those videos are posted, but I hate those strategies because usually, not always, but usually they require very heavy manual play, and I don't
Mhm.
feel they're necessary. Because in my head, I see that and I go, well, okay, I need 100 foresight, but I also need 20 Galactic Republic wins, and half of the Galactic Republic guys have foresight. I feel like this is not a problem, right? And that's generally what happens with a lot of those feats. I prefer a soft cheese strategy, which is where, yes, in each battle, I want to maximize the amount that I get, but with as little effort as possible. So if I'm getting 20 foresight per battle instead of 100, I'm okay with that. Because I know that unless it's Sector 5, because as a non whale, I'm not using the Datacron node in Sector 5 unless I absolutely have to. Unless it's Sector 5, I know that I can go back to a Datacron node and I can just get that on the back end, right? So it's not a big deal to me in that regard. I'd prefer to make my way through more naturally with maybe throwing in something weird, right? So I'll have like Lord Vader with 3 of his clones and I don't know, Seer, because for some reason I need something that Seer has, and we're just gonna throw Seer in that team, and she doesn't really do anything other than take her turns and do the buff or the debuff I need. Or take JML and throw Watt because Voluntary Vanguard has been missing forever now. And throw in Watt and 2 more Jedi and just random light side character because random light side character needs to survive for some reason, right? That's the extent of how I will do something for a cheese strategy. I don't want to put together 5. I know you use Ray. I don't want to do Ray with 1 guy and 3 non-combat characters because that strategy takes me 5 minutes of effort and I don't want to put in that effort. I don't have time for that, especially with the amount of battles that Conquest needs.
Well, okay, so I do like Ray. We'll stick with the evades feat because it seems like an easy one for this. I do Ray, Hoda, Jedi Training Ray, um, R2D2, and Watt. And you put Tank Tech on Jedi Training Ray, and then R2D2 can stealth everybody, so you're getting stealth as you go. R2D2 basic stun, so you're getting stuns as you go. JTR starts dodging just as you play, and Ray gets her mastery higher and higher. Fought Geos, and I got like 59 dodges in the first fight, and I got the rest in the other fight. So it took me 2 fights, 2 different Geo teams. You know, when you want to win, Ray
Yeah.
stops putting lifeblood on JTR and uses her ultimate and kills everybody. And then you move on. So that's 2 combats to get all of those. I didn't have to do it that way. I could have tried to get a team more like yours. I know I'm going to get evades from like GMY on a team who's going to give me a bunch of foresight.
Yeah.
But this is just for me. It's easy to have one team I play manually and get everything done for sure. And it's a really strong team. I know it's going to win. I've also seen people use Enoch instead of R2D2 because then it guarantees there's no critical hits on you,
Hmm.
and that will help your mastery ramp faster. But it's not necessary. And I like also getting the stealths and the stuns at the same time with R2. Um, but I like to play it out. I'm going to play out all my combats anyway. They usually go fast. The ones like this where I'm doing a cheese, yeah, it's short, but like I had a SLKR versus someone fight today. It was 3 clicks.
Yeah.
And like it'd be just as many clicks to start the fight and be like, okay, auto full auto. I guess that'd be 2 clicks to auto full auto. But then I'm actually going to wait longer because then the animations start. And then if he doesn't do the move sequence that would win in 3 moves, and like I just wasted more time. And it's 3 clicks. Who cares?
Well, for those
Especially at the high relic delta. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so for those like SLKR battles, right? And that's what Phil is talking about with like the survive feats. I do understand and agree. Survive feats are so nice right now because of Relic Delta, right? And that's what I did. I even in the first sector, I did my pirates, I did to 50% naturally because I needed pirate wins anyway. But I don't want to take that team down to 10%. So once I got Vayne and Silvo to 50%, I was doing SLKR Vayne Silvo Cup, and I got them down to 1%. Right, doing all of those because SLKR even at Relic 8, so only a Relic Delta of 4 there. He was deleting things, and I don't use offensive data discs. He was, and I love it. I love it for that reason, and I recognize that for that reason and for those feats, Relic Delta is super awesome in Conquest. I have no qualms with that. I know Phil, you don't have any qualms with that. It's really just the buff and debuff feats that I have a problem with. For me, Phil, you were talking about Relic 11, right? And the Delta, and what if they change the Delta and they move how Delta works? My thought is if they do that, they will probably change the relic levels in Conquest. So I'm not too worried about that.
But but you say you're not worried.
Yeah.
But think about the, and again, this goes back to just Conquest has a gate of 4 million galactic power.
Yes.
Now, I recognize that a 4 million galactic power account coming into Conquest now is not going to be the same as what 4 million was when Conquest first was launched.
Yes.
It's different. I get that. But I've also always fundamentally disagreed that either the gate needs to move because 4 million GP can't really participate with hard mode Conquest properly. And now, if you up the relic levels inside of Conquest, you're furthering how many accounts can't really participate with the game mode because of that delta.
Well,
Because you think about it now,
yeah.
if you
So my thought with
just
Conquest
thinking like,
is that everything has natural progression, right? I don't remember how many boxes there in. I guess I could check right now because we do have the game open. That is something that I have usable to me, right? So there's 1 box, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 7 boxes. I see
We
it as
should
a
note
natural progression. Yeah,
you should note the first box in hard mode conquest is better
it's
rewards than the
yes,
best crate of normal mode. So
well,
if someone coming
yes,
in with 4 million GP, all they need to do is get 1 box and it's worth it.
and it's worth
And
it.
that is very easy.
no, yeah, and I almost wonder if that's more of a knock on how terrible normal Conquest rewards are comparative to
Maybe.
hard mode.
They
But, you know,
completely are terrible. Comparatively, they are
yeah.
completely terrible. But to me, like there's a progression where if you hit 4 million, you shouldn't expect to get the red crate, right? Like if you
No,
get
you should not.
the first crate on your
No,
first time,
absolutely not.
you did awesome. If you get the first crate on the first 3 times, you did awesome. And you're going to slowly progress through and you're going to get to the higher thing. What I'm worried about, and Kahzgul, we had this argument in text yesterday, is that to me, if I am increasing my characters, they should not become less effective at the thing that they do. And that is what I'm seeing in Conquest with some of my teams, right? So, an example for me is right now, my Night Sisters are pretty much all Relic 9. And they are doing great in Conquest because the only feats I need them for are survive or win with feats. But next Conquest, there isn't, but next Conquest, we see a Plague Fleet feat again. My characters, my Asajj Ventress was one-tapping characters at 30% with
Oh, you used the
no
feed
offense
disc.
discs, right? No, I'll get to that, but with no offense discs, right? Like one-tapping characters, I shouldn't have to take off a disc, put on a disc, waste my energy because and only because I increased the strength of my character because I made them better at what they do. That kind of sucks. To me, that's bad game design. Now, mods, right? Sometimes you increase your character through mods, and it might decrease the power of your team because speeds are off. To me, that's different. And the only reason I'm bringing this up is because somebody brought this argument to me yesterday. To me, that's different because that's temporary. You can change and move those at your leisure. Relic levels, you can't do that, right? I have, and I know, actually, you might both know him. I know that you do, Phil Shadow. He's on our Discord. He is a whale. He loves his quad mate team. He has POW at Relic 10. He's telling me my POW at Relic 10 in all sectors is one tapping everything, right? It is hitting everything. The Omicron that he invested in order to speed up his conquest, to make his life easier, is now a detriment to him. Unless he puts on that disc, unless he gets the disc, which you can't get until Sector 3 or buying it, because you need to get those 250 battles. And if you don't buy the Conquest Pass, you then have to go in and you have to unequip discs. You have to waste your 7 energy, right? And then you go in. I understand it's only 7 energy, but it's one of those things where you shouldn't have to do it. And if you don't
I gotta say,
yeah,
can we just give a shout out that it's energy now when it used to be currency for my OG Conquest players when that don't you remember when it first launched it was the currency, it wasn't
yes,
energy.
it was the currency for like the first 1 or 2, and people were like, "I'm not paying that
Yeah,
currency, like
'cause
that's not happening," and they changed it. Yes.
it I still have never like unequipping discs because I just was so I remember like having to do math of how many discs you could and couldn't unequip
And
to
still get
still be able to
shards.
buy the
Yeah,
shards.
the equipping
Yes.
disc with currency was stupid. I agree.
But the point, like with the feet disc, right? I shouldn't have to do that. But on top of that, because of the way that feet disc is designed, I now have a choice where I either need to bring in an insta kill, right, so that I can kill the enemy, right? I kill their leader and then I can kill everybody else, which means that I have to do the battle on manual because that insta kill is going to be used. Or I have to have an unproductive battle. And an unproductive battle to me is one where if I am on a Datacron node where I lose and I am not getting a Datacron material, to me, those small things really annoy me, and it's increasing the amount of effort that I have to put in Conquest. And I do think that there are things that CG can do to meet us in the middle here.
Well, there's
Right?
also things you can do.
Yes.
It's not an either or. You can find a team that has a damage immune character. Like if you're running, Night Sisters, for example, and you want to stack Plague, find a team that's got Jango Fett, and he starts the battle damage immune.
But you have to
And you can
remember
just,
you have to remember that is RNG based, 100% RNG based, right? So people are saying, hey, I know the big one in Sector 1 is do the Droideka. Find a Droideka node and use Stormtrooper Luke. Not everybody has a General Grievous to fight,
Yeah, but
right?
also that's not how I did it. I did it a different way. I used that Ray stall team, and instead of bringing for evades, who's the one we brought for evades? R2D2. Instead of bringing R2D2, I brought STL and just had him
Yes.
basic on his turn.
So, but
And now
here,
my
my
STL is only relic 2, so he's not hitting super hard.
but
You
my
know?
my STL is Relic 7. He's hitting much harder, right? I know people whose STL is Relic 9 who are hitting much harder than that. So you found it more effective because your STL was lower, right? It shouldn't work like that. Another
No,
example is Sector 5. Sector 5
Yeah,
Fracture
it's
Feet. Everybody hates the Sector 5 Fracture Feet,
that one
right?
sucks. That's a terrible feat to begin
So
with. Without
I
Relic Delta, it's a
I
terrible
found a
feat.
really great way. It's always nobody loves the Fracture Feet, but I found a really great way to do it. I found a Phoenix node, and I know that Phoenix node obviously it's RNG, so not everybody's gonna find a Phoenix node. I found a Phoenix node, and I did Spider Maul, Watt, IG-12, General Syndulla, and Thrawn. And I took all the offense discs off. I tank teched on Spider Maul. I weapon teched on on Thrawn. I hit auto, and I was getting 12 to 15 per battle.
That's
But do
great.
you know what my problem was? My Spider Maul is Relic 10. So my Spider Maul is doing a shit ton of damage, right? Whereas a Relic 4 Spider Maul, that player is going to get 25. They're going to get 30 because they're not killing the enemy team anywhere near as fast as my team is, even with basics, right? And that is kind of annoying. And you could say, well, throw in another tank. I tried that. I actually wasted a lot of energy this morning throwing in other tanks. Spider Maul's protection and the way he works really well there. Other tanks that work really well there, Darth Malik, really great tank, but guess what? He also has a move that does a fuck ton of damage. So if I want to throw that on auto, I can't do it, right? Malgus, same thing. Would work with Malgus. My Malgus is Relic 9. He is going to obliterate enemies. And you could say, well, dude, just do it on manual. But why is it less effective for me to do it on auto versus somebody whose team is weaker to do it on auto?
So can I come in with a
yes.
different angle here?
That's why you're here,
Real
man.
quick. All right, great. So imagine you're developing, and look, I don't think CG is necessarily this smart, but I'm gonna put this out there that somebody must have thought about it. You're developing an investment game. It's 10 years old. The barrier to entry for new players is so high. It's insanely high. You're talking about 6 years of constant play just to catch up to where the game was the day you entered.
Yeah.
That's wild. So you want to do something that sort of helps lower tier players that doesn't also help the high tier players stay ahead of them, right? And this is small. This is a very small thing. The smaller players are going to have a slightly easier time doing feats in Conquest than the long time whales because of Relic Delta. Again, I don't think CG thought this out when they added Relic Delta because I
I
think
don't,
Relic Delta
yeah,
is terrible.
I don't think
But
it's malicious
the
the
way
way that
it's
it's
playing
working.
out here, it costs you 40 extra energy over the course of your conquest, maybe 100 extra energy, maybe 120, an entire 50 crystal refresh. That's 50 crystals that somebody else just caught up to you because you don't have that in Datacrons or whatever. And maybe it's very slightly annoying to you to go into your inventory, remove a disc, and add the feat disc so you can do your battles. But it's not tremendous. It's not a huge thing.
You are 100% right. It
That
is not
sort of helps them
tremendous.
catch up just a little, and
It's
that's
it's
how the
not
game should be. You
huge.
should be able to catch up.
I agree that it's not huge. I agree that it's small, but it's not just the energy, it is the time and the effort, right? So I will give you my Monday.
Yeah.
For the last 3 years or so of doing this at school, my Monday, I will burn all 3 of my refreshes before my school day ends. Just because I'm lucky and I every year have had a special right after lunch, which means I don't have to do anything. So I get to sit there during that period as long as like I'm there on damage control just in case emergency kind of duty. So I can sit there and I can like put my phone to the side and I can do these things on auto just to burn energy. I can do all 3 of my refreshes and be efficient. This Monday, I got through 1 refresh because I had to spend more time with each battle, which meant now when I got home, I was spending more time on each battle, which meant Tuesday morning when I woke up to do my conquest, and I normally finish my conquest before I even get out of bed, I was only through a refresh and a half and I had to go to work. And it wasn't time. It wasn't, oh, what if your day was more busy? My day was no different than any other day. It was that each of those battles, I had to spend more time on it. And to your point about, helping smaller accounts, there are ways that they could have done this to make it really great that Relic Delta is there for a mid-game account, but also where I don't have to deal with it in the same way. One idea that I did not think of, somebody posted this on one of my videos, and I said, I actually kind of like that. Give me a Relic Delta slider. Give me a slider where I can increase the relic level in a sector. The minimum is still 4 or 5, but allow me to increase that to 6 or 7 or 8 or 9. No extra rewards, but I promise you that I would do that. I promise you that when I was against hard feats, I'd say, you know what, let me bump these guys up to Relic 8. I don't have to deal with Relic Delta as much now. And it doesn't hurt CG because I'm not dealing with it from a negative perspective. I'm dealing it from that, like, I put in the materials. I spent the money. I bought the Relic 10. I did the thing you wanted me to do. I said the words. Just let me make this a little bit less painful for me so that I'm not killing things too fast. Easy, simple.
This is very much the epitome of first world problems, right?
Of course it is. We're on a podcast.
I'm much more concerned about people who have like all of your Tusken are G8. You're not going to be able to beat that Sector 1 mid boss because of Relic Delta now. It doesn't matter that you have 500 stacks of momentum. You guys are going to die like that. I'm much more worried about those new players and new accounts.
Phil?
But I'd argue for them, number one, it is far easier now to get gear. If you want to buy every single Lightspeed bundle, like, have at it. And I'm not saying that that's what I expect people to do, but CG is able to put their hat on that stuff is available. But I think those feats were never really something like when it's a full team, the full team ones, you weren't beating that with Gear 8 Tuskens before. You might be able to do it with Relic 2.
Every once in a while you could, but for the most part you weren't.
Like G12,
like you're not going to get through
right
some
now.
of those.
If you have full G12 Tuskens, you're still going to get your ass handed to you.
And I think that just goes into a little bit of like where Conquest needs to maybe evolve a little bit, is that I felt for like normal Conquest, what they should do is instead of giving you like 20 shards of Cobb Vanth, so you're going to get 60 shards for Cobb Vanth over these conquests, and then he's going to go to Proving Grounds. Give people like 110 of a character that they can select that's in Proving Grounds already. That you get those other characters faster that you could probably use because you could work towards them or pick and choose. And then normal Conquest has some benefit to players below where the hard mode Conquest isn't really benefiting you. Normal Conquest still has some draw. Because I think the problem that you run into, it's the same thing with like Rise of the Empire and GOTB. There's no single reason to run GOTB anymore, right? You're just going to run Rise of the Empire. It's the same problem with Conquest, but if there was feats in normal Conquest that weren't Tuskens and Jawas and the things that pirates and win with Maul hate fueled in your squad, like you take those away, make it much more friendly to people who are into the game now and make it worth more of their while, I think you'd probably see happier mid-game players participating with Conquest, and then it allows them to progress through the game a little bit faster.
I also think I understand that, like, so for sector feats, right? Like Tuscans, for example, win with a full team of Tuscans. Yes, it's going to be very difficult. I think with a lot of those feats, it was very difficult to do with low gear in the past anyway. There were some times where you're like, oh, you can do this with a G9. And like, this is crazy. How did they figure this out? And that was really cool. Outside of that, I do think that those survival feats are going to be a lot easier going forward, even for the mid game player, for the regular survival feats. Because if we think about it, when it comes to eras, everybody who meaningfully plays through an era will end the era with a G12 character. And I know that that's still Relic Delta 4-5, but all you need is one strong attacker to get that character through the survival feat, even if you're, a 5 million account or a 6 million account. In the past, if you were a 5 million account or a 6 million account, if it was like, all right, you have to win with Stormtrooper Luke surviving, and you're like, well, I'm kind of fucked because I don't have JML and my data discs aren't right. Now, all you really need is
gear 1.
and he's gear 1 because I don't want to use it. Now you're able to say, all right, as long as I have like one strong GL team, like an SLKR, and this is why I said to you, Kaz, yesterday that I think the new thing is going to say, don't get JML, get SLKR, because he will wipe through Conquest for you. You get him to Relic 8, those players are going to be able to beat more of the feats that they weren't able to beat before. I fully support that part.
And with Slicker, Kylo Ren Unmasked will pre-taunt, and you damage him, and he's going to recover health, and it just turns into a cheat code where the AI can't kill him, because between the Delta and his kit, it just becomes impossible.
And I don't want to take away that benefit. I do want to keep that benefit. I think my biggest problem when it comes to the time is that right now the game is asking a lot from me time-wise. And that has always been my criticism. And I've always pushed for quality. Exactly. The game does not respect your time. And I have always been somebody who has looked for quality of life improvements to try and get the game to shave off time from things that were no longer hard or no longer difficult or no longer a challenge. I don't want to sim TB because I'm lazy. I am. But that's not why I want to sim TB. I want to sim TB because I've cracked the code, because I have proven that it's no longer a challenge to me. And now I'm not playing content. I'm just playing time.
Yeah,
And
look, I want to auto deploy TW. I want to be able to use all my ally points at once.
yeah,
there's a lot of very simple fixes.
a lot of, and I'm on board with all of those things, right? Like, the game takes so much of my time, and at a time, especially with eras now, and CG said in one of those posts, they're like, we're working on era PvP, and we don't know when or if that's even coming or if that's in the pipeline.
It's
I know it's in the pipeline, but I don't know how long from now. I don't want them saying, hey, you have to spend more time in Conquest now. You have to figure this out more. I need ways that say, you know what, we're taking 10 minutes from here, and you don't have to do that 10 minutes anymore because you have already shown me that you've beaten that. You've figured that out. An example that I gave last week to somebody on Reddit was the raid. I understand why they don't want me simming the raid. I understand, because they want me to keep progressing my teams. They want to incite me or entice me to do that. Let me sim the raid when I am at 18 million. Because I'm at 16 million points right now. I have no reason to get to 18 million. There is literally no reason with the new raid coming out in the next 2 months.
You had no reason to go above. You had no reason to go above what, like 12?
Well, I went a little bit higher for TB, right? I got the JMMW squad. I have no reason to go past that 16 million.
7.2 million, and I felt pretty good about that.
So I'm at 16. I do 14 because I just don't want to do the fourth squad because I don't have the fifth squad because I don't have to.
Yep.
If tomorrow They said, we will let you sim the raid after you have gotten 18 million, I don't know, 5 times. I would R9 my Bad Batch literally tomorrow. Just for that quality of life of 15 minutes saved, because it takes me about 15 to 20 minutes to do my raid. Just for that 15 to 20 minutes back once a week for the next only 2 months or so, I would do it because it's time save, and that is my most valuable resource.
This is a thing I like to talk about a lot, which is I think someone 12 years ago decided in video games the metric by which to measure the success of a game was player
Yeah.
engagement.
Yep.
And that just means time spent in the game world.
Yep.
And they don't distinguish between time the player had fun and time the player felt was wasted. It's just the time. And I think that was such a mistake, and it's such a disrespectful and disservice to players everywhere. It has led to some really lazy, grindy game design. I would love to talk about it more. Unfortunately, I am turning into a pumpkin. But thank you guys so much for having me on. This was really fun. Happy to talk
No, this was great.
anytime. I hope I've convinced everyone that Relic Delta is not a big deal and you're all whining about nothing. And
Well, Kaz, I
you got a
do.
great day.
I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate you having that conversation with us so that there was not just us throwing shit at the wall and being in an echo chamber. Just so that people know where to find you. You are on Reddit. It's Kahzgul on Reddit. On
Mhm.
Substack, I think it's also Kahzgul on Substack.
Yep.
And on
And
Twitch,
it's
if
Kahzgul on Twitch.
it's the same. So he
Yep,
just
the
started
same.
going on Twitch. Guys who are on Twitch, follow him because his account is so new that I can't even gift him my Prime sub right now, and we do need to change that. So, Kaz, I
I think it's
appreciate
so
your
funny
time.
to be good enough to get Prime. I need one more follower,
One more
and I
follower.
need an average of 3 viewers for like 4 hours.
I will
It's
get the
so funny.
follow immediately after this because I got to log
You
into
guys
Twitch
rock.
and do that.
We
Thank you so much.
we will get it for you.
I will say also, just real quick, I've been streaming my Conquest this time. I've been having fun doing it. So I will probably be streaming Conquest morning and evenings during Conquest
And Kaz
until
is
I.
on our Discord, and he does have a notification system on there. So if anyone is interested, you could just go into the roles and you click the Kahzgul thing, and he's able to do that. I appreciate your time. Thank you
Thank
for
you
the
so
time
much.
you're able to give us.
Thanks, man. See
Thank you
ya.
guys. Nice to meet you, Phil.
You too, man.
All right. Bye bye, guys.
I'll see you later. All right. So, Phil, we're going to just switch this over to this one. And oh, look at that. That's my face in both screens. We're going to keep chatting while I
Ooh.
fix that. The one thing, you know what? I'm going to make an executive decision and say, because we're already nearing an hour here, that we're going to, I think maybe we skip the kit reveal tonight because I know we had some other interesting ideas with Conquest. And
Yep.
it seems like
The
this is
kit
the right time for that, right? Would you
I mean,
agree?
I'm not even leveling. I'm not even taking ISB seriously yet. I'm still working on like the Rebel Fighter team. I
There
could
you
care less
go.
about ISB.
So we're probably, I mean, maybe we will. It depends on the time. But to continue the conversation on Conquest, one thing that I'm going to give you more credit for, I know other people on Reddit have talked about this. You're probably not the first person to talk about it, but it's not necessarily my idea. I came around to it specifically because of Relic Delta. And I had said to you, you know, the time is right for there to be a new difficulty level in Conquest. And I don't know what your exact thoughts were, but my thoughts were, if I remember correctly from my DM with you, was that essentially you would still get the character in a 3-month time frame. I don't know the exacts, I don't know the math. You'd still get the character in the 3-month time frame. The shards would not be purchasable from the scavenger. So you'd go into the scavenger, the shards would no longer be there. The added benefit would be that you still get that same amount of currency, but you no longer have to purchase the shards. So that's 2,000 extra currency that's not accounted for. You don't have to deal with. You would still be able to buy the old character currency shards if you wanted to. Rewards would be slightly higher. I don't have exacts there. And I would say what? It would go relic 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in there, right? Start at 6 and go all the way to 10, or do you think start at 5 and go to 9?
I think I'd actually maybe say, do you start at 4 and go to 8? I
You
don't know.
think
I'm
4
trying
and
to
go to 8?
think of it from a it well, I guess it would depend too. I don't care. Maybe I don't care what relic level they go to. It's the extra stats you give the team. Because like the characters in this conquest are still juiced beyond what a
Yes.
normal relic 5, which
Yes,
side
because
note,
they have the
let
stat boost.
us
Yep.
let us for the love of God just see like 3 stats. Speed, health, and like offense. Just let
So
me see like 3 things in that character of like,
what's going
okay,
on?
Geonosian Brood Alpha has 656 speed. Like Hondo is now outrunning him. Like fine. Just tell
Yeah.
me. Um but yeah, I think you just do a healthy mix of stats and relics so that way it is more challenging. And I think what this would give them an opportunity to do, like I'd kind of mentioned with the normal conquest, the feats in conquest are no longer use your roster. It
Yeah.
is interact with the 3 newest things we've released and inquisitors
Yeah.
because there's always inquisitor feats. Um,
Always.
I think you could make a much better version of conquest where the feats could be more about using your roster. Like when we first started, you getting advantage, inflicting like expose and things that are very, very common or tied to a faction but not super hard to get. Put that in like hard mode and then in this whatever you want to call it, extremely hard because I'm creative. Um, you have the more newer feats in there. Win with Maul hate fueled.
Yeah.
And then it still is a hey, hard mode, you're gonna be able to get the character inside of that time frame, but you're not gonna get the extra rewards. And the rewards would be tailored, like you were saying, you don't have the exacts. I'm just thinking, get rid of all the gear because you still
We
get
don't
like
need
the
them. Right.
Kyrotech and the finisher
Yeah.
pieces. Yeah, just give me signal data.
Yeah.
Um,
The other thing I wanted to
yep,
say, I do agree on the thematic conquests were more interesting, right? Like where everything was kind of based around whatever was going on at the time. But
that was a.
my my one, it's not a
I was gonna say that was a
criticism.
bit thing.
Yeah, yeah. So Bit Dynasty in that chat was talking about the thematic stuff. I, I think the reason they started to go away from that, and I don't blame them for this. It's not as much fun, but I don't blame them for this. Was because what we had at the time was usually a sector had um, one survive feat, one kill with feat, and it might have been a faction, it might have been a character, and 2 buff debuff feats. And I
Yep.
think that they were getting tired of trying to find a way to make it so that we couldn't do all 4 at once, because that's what
Well,
was
yeah, that was
happening. We were
yeah.
figuring out, like, wait a second, if I put these 4 characters together, I can get progress on all 4 of my feats at once. And I think that they have moved towards I think it's sector 4, it might be sector 3, where it's like do 10 battles with no tanks, do 10 battles with Satil, right? You
Yeah,
literally
no,
cannot do the 2 at the same time.
they even like the mini boss feats, which
Yes.
piss me off to no
It'll be
end.
like, do it with Darth Vader, do it with no Empire characters.
Yeah,
It
like
is very
and they
clearly, yeah.
yeah, and I am very much against the way they've gone through those because like you said, it's not like I can't do it. It's the fact that I have to do it again,
Yeah.
right? It's just it feels like a waste.
Yeah.
Um I have no problem like in sector 1, the win with Cup and then win with like who are the other 2 characters? Um
Vane and Silvo.
yeah, so I threw them with Slicker and that was fine.
That's what I
Like,
did.
yep. And again, there's workarounds that those I'm okay with, but when it's very clearly designed that like you cannot do it at the same time, I do get frustrated because I think it's just a bit of a slap in the face
Yes.
that, you know,
And I look,
it,
I get it
it
from both sides. From a player perspective, I'm annoyed because I can't do things as fast. From
yep.
a company perspective, I get it because they don't want us to do it too fast. So I do understand both sides of that perspective when it comes to the thematics. I do wish they'd bring some of the thematics back and have something more
I
interesting
I
there,
agree.
because right now it does end up being just all right. Whatever the last era was, that's the theme. Remember that era you just did? That's what it is, and the next conquest cycle is going to be like, make sure that Cassian is in your squad. Make sure that you win with Vel, but also you have to do 10 battles with a full ISB team on the same sector. And it's
Oh,
just, that's
and then
exactly what's going to happen.
my favorite is when it'll be like Sector 1 will be like win with Vel in your squad,
Yeah.
and then Sector 2 will be like win with Cinta in your squad, and then you complete Sector 1 and you're like, I have to split up the two characters
Yep.
that I'm supposed to be using together.
Yep.
And I
And then
don't ask me why it grinds my
Sector 3 will
gears
be
because
use the whole squad. And you're like, what
yeah,
do I do?
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Like I get it, it, it is I understand this is like first world problems, but I also think it goes back a little bit to think through the feats. Just take the time to say, does this make sense? Like, do you expect me in I think it's what, like 22 battles total
It's
in like
somewhere
sector
around
1
there.
and 2,
Yep. Somewhere
right?
in
Like there's
there.
22 nodes or whatever.
I believe
Do
it's either
you
20,
legitimate
20, 21, 22, somewhere in there.
so is like they're like just if I could sit them in a room and ask them uncomfortable questions, do you expect me to have 10 wins with Silvo in Vayne by the time that I am through there without ever having to touch that Datacron node? Is that your expectation?
And the answer is yes,
Or
right? They do not
yeah,
expect
and
you to get through that whole sector. And I never did in the past. This is the first time I did because again, survival feats have made that easy with Slicker or with I did it
yeah,
with Lord Vader a few times, did it with Disguised Clone Trooper a few times. They've made it easy enough where I literally can bring those characters down to 1% stamina, and that is the one argument for Relic Delta in Conquest. But
yeah,
in the past, I never did. What I would do is I would go, okay, Sector 1, I'm going to do 4 of the battles with the team, and then I'll do 3 or 4 battles with Leia as the lead and Captain Rex with Zealous Ambition. And then I would have 3 or 4 left at the end, and I'd go, all right, I'm doing that at the end. Right? When I'm
yeah,
Datacron
yeah,
farming, Monday is Sector 1, Tuesday Sector 3, Friday is Sector 5, Saturday is cleanup, and Sunday I'm done. That is
yeah,
how Conquest went. And I do think that everybody expects to perfect each sector immediately, and I don't think that that's the way to go. And a lot of people who use the hard cheese strategies, that's their goal. I think there's too much stress and effort in doing that, and it makes more sense to say, I'm going back to this Datacron node anyway. Why would I do that? Right? That's
yeah.
my whole goal there.
Yeah, that's why I liked playing on the auto, was then I still was trying to not spend as much time, but I wasn't concerned about, oh no, I have to go back and do, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, Cup, Silvo, and Vayne
Yeah.
on the Bad Batch node. Swipe
Yeah.
it.
In the
There
past,
goes anybody that's a threat.
my morning, if I didn't finish Conquest before I got out of bed, right? If my cat came in the room and started screaming, which is what she does because she's a fat ass, I would get out of bed. I'd start a battle, hit auto. I'd walk. I'd get my clothes for the shower. Right. I'd start walking down the stairs. Battle's over. I'd hit auto on another battle as I'm walking down the stairs to feed the cats. I'm opening up the cat food, hitting auto on a third battle while I'm feeding the cats. I take the second cat into my office because she can't eat near the first cat, close my door, hitting auto on a fifth battle, right? And I'm getting all these battles done while I'm just doing the chores of my day. And now I
Yeah.
feel like I can't do that because I have to more actively manage all of those feats.
Yes, I agree. Again, when we talk about the auto, it's not because we don't want to play. I'd argue it's a reward for all of the things I've done
Yeah, it's a
to
puzzle. It's me
yeah,
figuring out the puzzle. It's like coding, right? Coding is you type a bunch of code, you press the button on your decompiler to see if it completes the steps that you want it to complete. That's what I'm doing. I'm putting the code in. Here's my code of these 5 characters, and I think it's gonna work. And it doesn't always work. Sometimes I go, oh
yeah, it
crap,
doesn't, yeah.
why did I throw these guys against Geos? This was the stupidest fucking thing I've ever done. And I laugh at
Like,
myself because my code didn't work, right? And then I go, all right, I'm
yeah,
gonna try another battle, and that one worked. That one figured it out, and it got me exactly what I needed. I think maybe, not sure, we're beating a dead horse here at this point. Do you have any closing remarks on Conquest?
Um, I would say to people who what I've tried to do, and I'm not the best at it, but I try, is I put myself in the shoes of what's it going to be like for somebody that's not my account.
Yeah.
And that's where I think I was getting worried about Delta long term is it's going to get out of hand. And that's not good for the game. So
So
that's
that
kind of how I was trying to see it.
this was the thing that I kept raging at you in DMs over the last couple of days, right? When people were not understanding me and they're saying, "Oh, well, I did it, and I did it with this character, and it was easy." And I'm trying to look at it from that long-term, more holistic approach of saying, "Okay, I understand that you're 11 million, right?" Or even I had some players who were 15 million who were like, "I'm doing just fine." Look at your account and what you have at Relic 9 or 10, right? Now, think about the same team that you just used for that feat, and your whole team is Relic 10, right? Because that's the goal, is to get your whole roster to Relic 10 right now. Most of us will
Yep.
never get there, but that's the goal. So now look at your entire team that you're using for a feat at Relic 10. Will it still accomplish that goal with Relic Delta? The answer is much slower than you want it to. And that is where my argument, and I think your argument, comes from. But
Yep.
we will move on, or I could spend my entire night here. We're going to move into the update. The update is small. There is something that you wanted
Yes.
to talk about here. As has been usual in our updates in the game lately, there is not much news. Inquisitor Barra shards are now farmable from Dark Side Battles 4C, which I think means that there are 4 hard node characters at this point.
Yes. It is
Fragmented
a
signal
12
data.
energy.
Yeah. 12
It is a
energy.
12 energy node.
Okay.
So the other ones were 20. The
So
being
lighter,
12
but
is
still rough. That's rough with the amount of energy that you need.
yeah.
Fragmented signal data and incomplete signal data are now in guild events. So they were incorrectly in raid. They are now in guild events. Fragmented signal data for MK2, or is it MK3? I can look in game.
Fragmented is MK2,
Okay.
incomplete is MK3.
Okay. So fragmented, the
White,
gray is MK2,
yep.
the green is MK3. Um,
Yes.
how I know some people, I've seen it on Reddit, I've seen it on my Discord, have said, "Hey, I would buy the MK2 one. I'm not buying the MK3 one." I have seen some people say I would be tempted by both and buy both sometimes. I am telling you right now, I will not buy either of them ever unless I'm drunk and I accidentally press the button. Where are your thoughts here?
I'm torn on the like uh fragmented.
Okay.
I call it I call them my colors, like the white. I'm torn there because I don't save my get to because I use it to earn additional mats.
Yes.
So I'm been trying to figure out like it kind of sucks because I was abusing the green signal data for raid currency.
Okay. Yeah.
Like that was awesome. Uh so I'm torn because I was seeing that as a way that I don't have to spend as much time farming in the cantina, or at least that color in the cantina, spend more
Hmm.
time on blue. So if I can use my get to on the white signal data, and that means I never have to farm it again, or it means that I can put it towards corrupted, then I'll be fine. But I also get on the side of if I run out of mats before I run out of signal data, then I've done this backwards.
Yeah, so I also use, obviously, my MK2, my get to for gearing, and to me, I would much rather continue to use my get to on gearing because I see it as Relic 8 plus material, right? What I
Yeah.
do
Yep.
is when it comes to my scavenger, I keep basically an unlimited amount of things for Electriums and Zimbittles because I don't need to scavenge those anymore. For impulse detectors and for Gerda keypads, I try to keep them around 300. And that's basically my brain. And I keep it around 300 because for a GL, for a Conquest unit, right? So, like, I have some. My brain now has a shortcut when I go to those stores. If I see 500, I know I don't need to buy that item. If I see 300, I go, oh, that's it. That's for an R8 item or that's for an R9 item. Those are the things I need to buy. And I am going to constantly buy those, constantly buy that because all of my relicking is Relic 8 and Relic 9 right now. And yes, I am always hurting for signal data, but I need that stuff more. It's more limiting. It's holding me back more. I personally will not see myself buying either of those things anytime in the short future.
Yeah, I think what I'll give Capital Games credit for it, and it was the same thing I said with, I think, the raid change. I am a fan of them giving us the option.
Yeah.
What you do with that option is up to you. I just appreciate that it's there. You know, if because I think there are players that are gonna be short for a Galactic Legend and Signal data,
And do it as a
and you
one
don't have
off. Yeah.
crystals, but you're gonna do it as a one-off, and that's worth it. That's great.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Yep.
so I appreciate it for those instances.
That's fair, right? I'm not going to use it. Other people will use it. I'm not going to say it's the worst thing in the world, even though I do find it to be relatively expensive for the fragmented signal data. It is 1600 get to for for the green. For the incomplete, it is 2000 get three. But you know, again, I've already seen people say that they will buy them occasionally, and an occasional purchase is still a win for CG. In this update, there is also a bunch of bug fixes. We don't generally go over all of the bug fixes because they're usually relatively small and inconsequential. If I can guess, one, this is where you wanted to talk about something. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. And two, I'm assuming it's the Huyang issue. Yes, am
Oh,
I correct?
yeah. So oh, my cat's behind me. Um, so I was reading through the things, and well, the one that caught my eye too was the acolytes would not gain bonus turns in 3v3 GAC.
Okay.
That is just clearing this up for some people. That's going to be a problem because of how we've been going through this Satil thing where you could just gun them down before they move with your 25% turn meter. Star Killer survives, you're going to get cooked at this point. So
And
there's I noticed that.
I'm gonna tell you that my R10 Satil, it's R10 Satil, R8 Revan. Most of the time I've won, but I've lost already with that team in threes.
I think I did okay. I didn't do it every single time though, because I wasn't I think I only did it the past like 3 or 4 GACs.
Okay.
Um, but I was okay with Relic 9 Satil, but I had like a 66% protection cron. So I was getting
Okay.
some
Well,
help
it
there.
wasn't my Satil that was losing. It was you know, you get your first turn. No, the first time I got it was they went first. I don't remember if I had a turn meter cron.
Oof.
And Revan died. And
Yeah.
I was able to kill somebody at that point, but I could not win. I know a lot of people are using Satil, Bastille, and Revan,
Revan.
but now like I've tried with Jolie and Revan, Jolie, and Satil, and that works well as well. I might do that going forward when it comes to threes, just for the revive. Even if it's not the most ideal for damage, I think that that's just going to be the better option.
You can't oh, their revive can't be stopped. That's
Their
right.
their revive can't be
Satil.
stopped. Correct.
I was like, "Wait, what do you but
Yep.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
See, I don't even remember the kits anymore. There's too
Yeah.
much going on.
Their revive can't be stopped. And just as a reminder for those people, with Satil, Satil was reset to Relic 1 today, no Omicrons because of the Ray and Watt issue. And I already received about a dozen PMs and messages from people asking, hey, are you still taking Satil up? I still applied all three of our Omicrons. I still took her to R10 because I did those for the Old Republic team. I did not do those for this Ray thing. I don't see a
Thank you.
reason not to take her up. anyway.
That I'm glad you said that because that was something else I wanted to mention, that anybody that was upset about that
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna come at you a little bit like you're an idiot because it should not
Yeah.
that interaction with that team was
Should
ridiculous.
not have happened.
I've always I even think Ezra, like, this should have been their opportunity to be like, "Hey, let's change Ezra a little bit to say either the anti-instant defeat or the no assist should be tied to a Spectre leader."
I
And
think it's
that
too late
way
for Ezra. I agree with you, but I think it's
I
too late for
yeah,
Ezra. It's too late.
but I think they but I wanted to give CG flowers and say, like, I appreciate that they recognized that was a problem and they
Yeah.
did something about it to
I do
they
agree.
rectified it.
There was somebody that I saw on Reddit yesterday. He was like, "Oh, I want my money back because I guess he bought the Conquest pass all 3 times. I want my money back because this is ridiculous." And I asked him, I said, "If I were to send you $90 right now, would you agree to not use Satil for the next 3 months?"
You
And
sent me that
I sent
interaction
you that.
and it was yeah, it was so
And now,
funny.
but here's the funny thing though. He did say, he said, yeah, I would take that. It seems like a fair deal. So I probed him further. I said, I personally don't feel like anybody, when Satil was in Conquest, was saying, "Oh, we all joked that she'd be going with Ray," just as a funny LOL. But
Yeah,
nobody
she's a
really
light side character.
exactly. So anytime there's a light side character, we make that joke. Nobody seriously thought. Nobody looked at it because a lot of her kit was already turned off, if not with Old Republic. And I
Yes.
said, "Did you get her for Ray?" And he told me, "No, I didn't get her for Ray. I got her for the Revan team." And I said, "So then what's your issue? What's your like she still does the thing that you paid the money to get her for. She still does that exactly 100%. I don't know what you're mad about." And it was a whole big, very funny thing. But going into the other thing that I
Hu
think I
Yang.
correctly glassed, Huyang finally, after is it a year and a half or is it 2 years at this point?
It's
Um,
it's somebody my favorite comment was someone said they fixed it after his datacron went
after
away. Like like,
so
it it's like when it's like when they fixed, the unending loyalty with Negotiator,
so
where it was
yeah,
bugged after Executor was released, they're like, "Oh,
yes.
we're fixing this ship and making it worse."
Well, the thing was, right, like at the time, for those of you who are not unaware of this, unending loyalty was bugged on Negotiator, and a lot of the times, Jedi Knight Anakin ship would just be invincible. And CG said that they fixed it like 4 times. They're like, "All right, you fixed it," but none of those times actually fixed it. And then the day after Executor came out, they magically fixed it. They figured it out, and it worked again.
Yeah.
I contend, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I'm not a bones, but I contend that what ends up happening is not that they break things on purpose. I don't think they break things on purpose, but they release the code in a certain state, and sometimes it's a little bugged. But the win rates are where they want it to be. And if the
Mhm.
win rates are where they want it to be, they don't want to change the bug. They don't want to change the issue because it's going to change the win rates. It's going to change where they want a team to fall in the meta. So I contend that when bugs like this happen that are around for 2 years, it's not because they can't fix it. It's because they believe that the team will now start to overperform. So my thought here is that there is a team. I don't know the win rates on these teams, but whether it's Satil in fives, whether it's Stranger, whether it's Cobb Vance's new team that's coming up, or even Cassian, something that is currently either here or about to be here. Ahsoka is underperforming against that team. And fixing this allows that team to perform where they want Ahsoka to perform. And they don't care if it changes the win rates on something that's a year old. So they have fixed Hu
Eh,
Yang. So he now, with his special one, does all of the instances of damage that he's supposed to do, and he hits like a truck. And that
Yep.
is my conspiracy theory. And a lot of the times that has been proven right over the years where they release a new character and they go, "Oh, by the way, we fixed this long-standing bug you guys have been complaining about this
Like
underperforming team and we just figured it out."
like Bastila when she had her fear was supposed to be random and your target, but it feared the whole team.
Yes.
And it didn't get fixed until she was, like, out of the meta at that point.
And whatever was coming up, they're like, "Oh, this is not going to lose when it's supposed to lose, so we need to fix it now."
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
That
And I
is
completely I agree with your take there because I think if you look back through a lot of the things that have gotten patched or fixed and things that have not, it's always coming down to how are they performing? What's beating
yes.
them?
That's the whole thing. It's about where they perform in the meta. And I will say this. I mean, I was in the beta, right? And we're allowed to talk about the beta. A lot of what we talked about was win rates and looking at the data and them looking at team composition data and them seeing what those win rates looked like and saying, well, this team, we really want it to be around like 60%, not 80. So we have to tweak this thing to make that thing work. And that's I mean, that's how a meta works. It's just a shame that when it comes to testing, it's because of random bugs that are making a thing not work the way it's supposed to that gets those win rates where they should be. Instead of saying, "Oh, we don't like this ability working the way it is because it's not doing what it needs to, so we have to like change the description beforehand," right? And that's a whole discussion on further beta testing and hopefully keeping that program around. But I haven't heard anything on that front. Is there anything else that you want to add? I said that weird.
No,
No.
no, I felt overall like very light patch, which I was kind of hoping for because I wanted to have the conquest discussion,
Yeah.
but I also just think a light patch because we know we're gonna get 6 posts about the next era, you
Yeah.
know,
Next
in
time, guys, strap in
yeah,
for a
and
special 2-hour show.
yeah, 2 hours to talk about the first post, and then we'll cover the next 5 and
We're gonna
each
give
subsequent.
we're gonna give Fat Phil's kid some Benadryl that night, so he gets on a little early.
Yeah, seriously, God.
Actually, and it's disgusting because I was thinking about this, and I hope my boss doesn't listen. I know he doesn't, but for the end of the era, I was like, I'm gonna put in a day off because for GAC lock, I now have to mod 7 characters in 3 hours. I
And
might just take the day off. I have a spare day that's going to go to waste by the end of the school year, and I don't have a very long school year left.
and, like, this time what sucks is they're all like, it's 2 teams.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Like, last time, it's like, "Alright, I'm not gonna use Wookiees, or I'm not gonna
Yeah.
use
You don't have to
Varys, so
worry
I
so
don't
much.
care." No, you're gonna use Cassian, Vel, Cinta, Kalea, they need mods, and then you need them for, the ISB team, like
Yeah.
and that
And
includes
and
Krennic and IPD.
and I know some people go, "Oh, well, I just take mods and I put them onto IG86." And look, I'm glad that you do it. I don't. I don't have the foresight to do that. I'm too fucking stupid to do that. But the whole point of the game is to put mods on all of your characters. So like that shouldn't be the thing we have to do. Right? Like I
No.
shouldn't have to take mods off of a carry. Oh, just don't put mods on him because he's useless. I understand. I get that you're smarter than me, but I shouldn't have to do that. Right? I should be able to test. Right now we have predictions on modding for those characters, but we can't test. We have nothing to go off of. Give us
Speed, health, offense.
it took me all 3 hours last time to mod my characters, and I got in like right at the nick of time. I'm
I think the heart my biggest complaint is that when I have to go and, like, try to create mod loadouts,
yeah.
right? Like, you have to basically go and create a mod loadout to say, "Okay, this is what I'm gonna put on, XYZ character." But then I've gotta go find the mods to replace everybody's that I just stole.
Yeah. And you have to go back
And
and
I
you have to
think
go in and
Yeah, it just gets very I mean, the mod UI in this game is terrible. Topic for another day. But it does just feel really shitty that they can't just delay it 3 hours and 1 minute.
Yeah. I've said
Or
do it right after GAC lock. Do it right
yeah,
after so that we have a week to play with it. Or do it a day early. Because then at least you
and
have 24 hours.
they have like, I remember there was a TB that was supposed to I forget if it was launch on Christmas, and they delayed it. Like, I distinctly remember them, like, not like, delaying a TB for a holiday.
There was
And
one time they did do something like that. I don't remember the specifics of it.
but I remember that, and I'm like, "Why don't you do that more often?"
Yeah.
With a not TB territory war, 'cause I understand that's a whole calendar schedule thing, but with something like this, what's it gonna cost you to be like, "I'll keep it active for one more day"?
Yeah.
Like,
I
there's no way that's a problem.
I agree with you. With that said, we're at the 90-minute mark. Clearly, we're not going to go over KX2's kit, and if anybody cares, I don't know what to tell you. I don't particularly
Go
think that my
read
kit
it.
reveals are very that interesting. If you send me a DM on Discord tomorrow or when you're listening to this with I'm going to say $100, $100 donation to Child's Play. It's my favorite charity, Child's Play. I will that night log onto my computer and I will read the kit for you in my sexiest audiobook voice. And I will send you a private video of me
Ah,
reading that kit for you
is
and for you only for
I
a
was gonna ask,
$100 donation. What's
is
that?
user allowed to share this with me? Is
Yeah,
he allowed to
they can
send
do
this
whatever
to
they
me?
can do whatever they want with that video. But if you really want the kit reveal that bad, you can go ahead and do that. Send me the screenshot. I will get on it the minute I get home. My wife will understand. I'm sure she will. And if I have to record multiple videos from multiple people, I'll do it. I don't care. Do you have any final thoughts for the night, Phil?
No, I felt this very, like, productive Conquest conversation, and I think I have to say, when I was away, I don't know if you saw this, but, like, I posted, um, like, when I was away, I found that you could play 95% of this game on, like, an autopilot.
Oh, I know.
They what really takes up your time is details,
Yeah,
and if you are at this point where you're feeling burnout or you're struggling or it's getting too much, just cut back on some of the stupid details that really aren't making enough of a difference. Like for Raid, I didn't do the clone trio
yeah,
because I don't want to remod. It's the only one I do that has RNG. I'm not I'm not trying to spend 15 minutes for an extra 100 currency. I'm not gonna spend time doing, I mean, I was like not doing GAC. Don't join your territory war, but like there's a lot of things you can cut away and just you're not gonna get as good of rewards, but you're not gonna completely stagnate. And I really recommend that for people that before you're like, I'm quitting this game, I'm done.
yeah.
Just don't care on the details.
To
That's my
nip into
final thought.
certain things. Of course, I agree with my fleet climb. If I get to 2, 3, or 4, I don't do that last battle. Right, that's 5 minutes that I don't have to do. My 11
Yep.
p.m. bonus energy. I don't stay up for that 11 p.m. bonus energy anymore. I used to do it. I don't bother. It's not worth it for me to get that last bonus energy of the day. I know that it's different for every person. With
You don't
all of that, yeah. Go ahead.
you didn't reset your times to like collect that?
No, I have my times at a very specific time so that it's easier for me to do my fleet climb. So I do my fleet climb. Basically, when I do my fleet climb, I get out of work, I turn on the game, I get in my car, I start a battle, and I get to the point where I can auto it, and then I drive home, right? And then when I get home, before I get out of my car, I start the next battle, I put it in my hoodie, and I walk into my house, and that's just the easy time for me to be able to do all of that stuff on auto without even looking at my phone. But now when I get down to that last battle, if I know I'm at 3, I'm not even bothering because I don't care about those 50 crystals. I'd rather those 5 minutes. It is
Yep.
those like little bits. My bad batch. I don't do my bad batch in the raid because they're Relic 7. It doesn't matter to me. It does. I don't need it. My guild doesn't need me to do it. I do. I look for those little things in my time in my day. With that said, I do agree. We had a very productive discussion on Conquest. I am very interested on people's thoughts on this. We do have the ZP episode discussion channel on the Discord. It doesn't get a lot of use. A lot of people just post in the general chat, but I do like seeing stuff in there because it keeps the discussion focused on what we were talking about. I would love to hear from people and their experiences with this conquest and their positives or their negatives or whatever else. We will be back in 2 weeks, which will hopefully be, I joke about a 2-hour episode, but will hopefully be one that is packed with a hell of a lot of information. So peace out and have a great rest, like night, day, I don't know, whatever time of day you're listening to this. Have it well or something.